Hello and welcome to another World Watercolor Month video. I'm Sandy Allnock. I'm an ambassador for World Watercolor Month, so I am cheering everyone on as you all paint. And today I have some thoughts on wet watercolor, and especially in a vintage fashion, because I wanted to paint this key that I drew, and I thought I'd add some words to it. And this is a class if you would like to get the sketch and paint it yourself. There's a link in the doobly-doo. We'll talk about that as we go. But let's talk about wet watercolor. To start off with my unfettered clay, I created a piece of art in the form of a sketch. And the way I created this in the first place was layering tracing paper over top of each other, where I sketched out a word and I sketched out the key and tried to place them together. And there were some of the words, some of the straight line words, where I went to my computer and I kind of tried to typeset something so that I would be tracing at least like letters that were related to each other. But the scripty ones were just like my handwriting that I did with a marker so that I could try to get some thick and thin kind of things. If you decide you would like this sketch and you want to try it yourself, you can take the class, and in it you can trace it exactly, or if you have better ways of doing script, you're welcome to change it up if you wish. But I traced mine using a light box. And all the supplies, by the way, are going to be linked in the doobly-doo. And then I used a kneaded eraser rolled like a hot dog to lift up some of that excess graphite. The palette is going to have 3 puddles in it basically the whole time. One is on the right-hand side, yellow ochre. The one in the middle, transparent red oxide. And on the left, and these will be top to bottom rather than left to right, the one on the left is going to be French ultramarine. But the yellow ochre was feeling both a little bit weak compared to the other two because I wanted them the same thickness, but I also wanted it a tidge brighter. So instead of just making do with the yellow ochre, I took a tiny dollop of new Gamboge and dropped that in there with the yellow ochre, and that gave it a little more strength. So I tried to keep these 3 puddles about that same thickness, because when you're doing wet watercolor, there's a few things to remember. If you charge really something super thin into something that's not as thin, you'll get blooms. So you want the thickness to be about the same. If you're using really thick paint to charge into wet watercolor, which I do a lot too, you'll just get a blurry edge to it. So you'll get some types of blending, but you'll see when you've got the thickness of all of the colors at the same level, you're going to get a very different kind of blend to them. So you'll see how that works out in just a minute. So I'm using that yellow ochre mix first for the base coat on this, and I'm trying to get the paint on here to stay wet. I did want to lighten some of it because I wanted to have some more highlight areas, so I used a baby wipe to do that, and then continued on with the rest of the key. And I found out, by the way, while I was doing this, that the top portion, which I was in my head first thinking is the head of the key, the roundy fancy part, that is actually called the bow or the bow. I don't know which. If anybody knows somebody who is a person who makes keys and can tell me if it's bow or bow, please do so in the comments. I like to get those things right. The long part in the center is called the thread, and the little bit at the end is actually called the key bit, the part that you stick in the lock. So here I'm dropping color in wet, and you can see that the color underneath is mostly wet. There's a few areas where it dried quickly because I was working on a hot day, and I had to go back in to soften those edges. But when I first dropped that color into the bow or the bow, it just kind of morphed out. It just kind of went into everything and blended. So you don't always want it to do that, but when you do want those colors to kind of mix and charge into each other, then you want the paper to have the same wetness as the color you're adding into it so that they just kind of smoothly blend together. Now for these shadows, I painted on dry paper, just painted those lines, and by the time I got to this bottom section, that had already dried. So I was realizing as I was working on this, I was going to have to start working faster This is sped up, but I had to actually physically work faster so that things wouldn't dry too much. And I dropped in to the little puddle that I made there as I was trying to soften that edge. I dropped in some of the French Ultramarine blue into the brown. And I wanted all these colors to just start softly mixing together and end up looking really loose and vintagey on here. So each time I put a shadow down, use some water to kind of get the edges to soften up a little bit, and then drop in some blue. Transparent Red Oxide and French Ultramarine Blue are one of my favorite mixes for things that are going to be neutral, anything that's brown or gray, because you can add more blue to a mix of the two of them in order to get something that looks more gray, or add more brown into it to find something that looks more brown. You can make any number of ranges of values of either browns or grays. And if you mix them both really thick and lots of color in them, like, you can get something that actually looks black with these two colors. But I love that they can give me a whole range of values and stuff just from these two colors, and all I have to do is keep mixing those same three puddles. So here I'm trying to create some depth in the bow of the key. It's either, I don't know which way you see it, because some places I look at it and I think, okay, that looks like it's receded in, and sometimes it looks debossed, sometimes it looks embossed. But whichever way, it looks really cool. It came out so cool, and I was really enjoying the unfettered play of doing this. Now, the reason that I came up with this phrase to use for today, a couple things had happened, of course. One is that today's prompt for World Watercolor Month is lock, and I decided to go with key since it was related. And I do love painting anything that's like metal and shiny and all that. So there's that. And then I was starting to think about keys, and I was thinking about doing something about the key to my art. What is the key to my art? And there were a lot of things it could have been. A lot of you might put some things in the comments that you think I might say are the key to my art. Contrast, color, shadows, light, all that kind of stuff is key to it. But the real key to it, I decided for this, was unfettered play. Because that's what I'm doing here. I'm just letting colors mix on paper. There is nothing that makes me happier than watching what watercolor does on paper. Now, I know that drives some people bananas because you want to control. I was just having a discussion at our art opening last week with one of the other artists there, and he was showing me his oil paintings, and I was asking him about his technique, and he was like, yeah, I gave up watercolors a long time ago because oils is so much easier. And he wanted to go talk about my technique by one of my paintings. And I was telling him how I approach it. And we are like night and day. We are ships passing in the darkness because I just absolutely love when watercolor does its thing. And that makes him bananas. He just couldn't handle it. But we both appreciate each other's work so much. But we just realized we were completely on the opposite ends of the spectrum, which was kind of funny. So did well at the show, by the way. Thank you for those who have asked. I did sell one painting, and there's somebody or two people who went home to think about buying one of the others. So I might have sold 3 paintings. Crossing my fingers. We've got a couple weeks left in the show, so hopefully I will get some callbacks. One couple even wants to come over to my house and shop from my walls of all the stuff that's already framed. So I'm kind of excited to see if they ever decide to contact me and come over, because that would be kind of cool. Anyway, this is the tail end of the piece, and I'm showing this to you to remind you that this is a class. I made it a class partially because it would have been like an hour and a half here on YouTube. Couldn't do it all anyway, but you can see the whole thing, the key, and all of the lettering and everything fully narrated and in real time in the class. And I made it a snack class. Snack classes are the inexpensive ones because I know the economy is like killing everybody right now. But as a class, it's going to be part of the fundraiser for ICAF for the kids. We're raising money to help kids make art. And all during July, all of my classes are donating 10% of the money that you spend to help the kids make art because they lost their grant and in all the shenanigans in Washington. So I want to make sure that we have a chance to help them out. So all of the details of the lettering and how I did the shading, how I did the just the dimension and everything is all in the class, and it's not an expensive one, so you can go check it out if you're interested. Links in the doobly-doo, along with all of the supplies and everything. The Watercolor Wednesdays are underway. Be sure to look at the World Watercolor Month page on my site for information on that. You can either sign up for a class to see replays or come live to the Zooms on Wednesdays, and I think I have yammered enough. I will see you guys again in a couple of days with some more creativity, maybe some unfettered play, because I am really ready for it. All right, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.